Welcome to the January 25th, 2024 meeting of the Business Operations Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. Pursuant to Commission Policy 1.100, Subpart 6.1, I would like to ask Commissioner Chris Tucker to tutor. I'm so sorry.
Same thing.
Thank you.
At least in terms of comedic ability.
Okay. We'd like to ask Commissioner Tudor to serve on the Business Operation Committee for purposes of establishing and maintaining a quorum for committee businesses as Commissioner Eddie Smith was called away on an emergency. Commissioner Tudor is empowered with all the rights and responsibilities of a committee member for the purpose of this meeting. Hayden, please take a roll call of the commissioners.
Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Woodson, Commissioner Tudor.
Here.
Present. Chairman Carter.
Present.
Present. Mr. Chairman, we have 2 of 4 members present. We have a quorum. Or 2. Sorry.
Thank you. The Business Operations Committee will hear several updates from staff on the agenda today. First, we will hear the Executive Director's operational update from Tess Stovall. Then the Commissioner Director of Finance and Operation, Melanie Harwell, will present budget updates, including the fiscal year 23 authorizers fee report, the fiscal year 24 budget to actuals update, and a fiscal year 25 budget update. Do we have any questions or comments from the agenda before we vote to approve? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the agenda is approved. The minutes of the meeting held on September the 21st, 2023 have been provided. Does anyone have any comments or edits to make regarding the prior minutes before we proceed? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the September 21st, 2023 meeting?
So moved.
Second. Second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes are now approved. The first item on our agenda is an operational update from our Executive Director, Tess Stovall. Tess, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Chair Carter. I have a brief operational update for the committee. First, there have been no staffing changes since our last quarterly meeting. We are fully staffed. Secondly, in terms of procurement activities, we have not engaged in any new procurement activities since our last quarterly meeting, but we are beginning to think about FY25 procurement activities, particularly around the Tennessee Language Center, which we currently have an active interagency agreement for interpretation and translation services, Power School, which is our student information system, as well as an external contractor to support our renewal process. At the March meeting, I will have further updates for the committee on procurement activities, as well as any approvals that we need from you for FY25. And with that, I turn it back over to Chair Carter.
Do any of the commissioners have questions for Tess? Tess, thank you very much for your update and keeping us updated. The final on our agenda today are updates on the fiscal 23 authorizers fee report and fiscal 24 budget to actuals, and the fiscal 25 budget from Director of Finance and Operations, Melanie Harrell. Melanie, you are now recognized.
Thank you so much, Chairman Carter. First, we provided a copy of our FY23 authorizer fee report. This is a report that we're required to keep, and all authorizers are required to complete annually. It just is an accounting of all of the expenditures that we had against our authorizer fee, as well as a description of that. These are provided to the Department of Education by December 1st. We also make it available on our website. I think highlight is that we believe we will be offering a refund on our authorizer fee of approximately $300,000 from last year. This is still contingent on the final revenue true-up from the Department of Education. We are hoping to receive that by the end of this month. Were there an extenuating circumstances where for some reason there was money owed back to a resident district, that could decrease that amount, but we are anticipating a refund of approximately $300,000 at this time. I do want to highlight that part of that is that if you all recall, as part of the ASD transition legislation, we received federal GEAR funding to support our transition work for that. That funding expired at the end of last federal fiscal year, but we did have some authorizing expenses that were on that funding that will no longer be on that funding moving forward. Next, I provided a copy of our FY24 budget to actuals. I think one key thing that I want to highlight for the committee is that you'll see a slight decrease in our TISA pass-through estimates, as well as a slight decrease in our authorizer fee. That is because we saw a decrease in the per pupil rate for Metro Nashville Public Schools. So the per pupil rate when we received the initial October true-up is about $800 less than was initially projected back in the spring. So you do see that slight decrease. I think this highlights why we keep a very close eye on those numbers and make sure that we're budgeting conservatively. This doesn't have a material impact on our budget, but it is something that we keep an eye on and that I wanted to highlight. I do also want to highlight that state paper performance awards were approved by the General Assembly at a higher rate historically, which was great news for our staff and we were very grateful for. It did mean that you will see that our personnel costs are running slightly above budget. When paper performance awards are announced and funded, there is money that is made an appropriation for all impacted state agencies that essentially offsets the increase. So you'll see that there was also a slight increase in our revenue. It's directly proportionate to that amount. But that is why there was a slightly over budget expense there that we're projecting. Finally, I wanted to give just a quick update, even though we don't reflect this on our operating budget, about the status of our FY24 grants this year. We initially, at the beginning of the year, were projecting grants in the neighborhood of about $8 million. We have received additional state school improvement grant funding for some of our eligible schools. That was amounted to about $2 million, which was great news for our schools that were eligible for that. But it did mean that we were projecting closer to about $10 million in grant funds for this year that will be passing through to our schools. I do also want to note that we still have not yet received our final IDA and title program allocations from the department. We've moved forward with a contingency plan for this year to be able to let our schools begin to draw down from the initial allocation amount while still making sure that we can accommodate any adjustments that would be made to those allocations. So we're keeping an eye on that, but we are moving forward based on our initial allocations as well. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about FY25. We're not bringing a budget day for vote. I just wanted to give an update on sort of a draft version of, based on what we know so far, how our FY25 budget could potentially shape out. I know there are certainly actions that are under consideration from the body that would impact that, but as always, wanted to bring this. This is based on the schools that we know are already approved and will be opening, and expansion. I think the primary highlight is that based on this budget, which is again preliminary and a draft, we're looking like the authorizer fee could reasonably cover approximately 95% of our expenses next year, assuming no significant changes. I think that is very encouraging since we know that that is a priority of the legislature. Given that this funding is variable, don't feel like we can say we'll be self-sufficient next year, but I think this certainly puts us on the right path to saying by FY26 we have a real meaningful likelihood of being self-sustaining on our authorizer fee alone. So that's very encouraging and is exciting. So in March, I'll be providing an update to the committee again on FY25. We will also have more information about what's in the governor's proposed budget at that meeting, so that we will be able to see if we have at least our request for an additional position included in that budget. And then we will be bringing the final amended budget at our July meeting at that time. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any additional questions from commissioners? Thank you, Melanie, for keeping us updated on the commission's finances. Thank you all for your attendance and participation at this meeting of the Business Operations Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. At this time, I would like to ask if there are any final comments. If there are no further comments, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I so move.
Second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Surprisingly, right?
Congratulations.
The next meeting of the Business Operations Committee meeting is scheduled for March the 21st, 2024. We are now stand adjourned.